Welcome back to my channel, guys, and thank you very much for your continued support. I want us to look at the politics of 2022 with our eye also looking at 2027. After the Sagana pre, it is now clear and official that President Uhuru Kenyatta is the architect of Raila Odinga's presidency. I had mentioned that in this channel. And even though he's supposed to ride on Uhuru's support, but that is not enough. However, people have been asking, and of course there have been a conversation in the political space, and the question has been, do you think that Uhuru Kenyatta wants to extend his term by endorsing Raila Odinga? I don't think that is true. But there is something that is coming up that I want us to interrogate and keenly look at its objectives and what it means. There is a report that has come out, and it was published in today's Standard here. If you look at page 9 of Standard newspaper, there is an article that was published there, and the article is Uhuru Raila to unveil Azimio structure. If you go through that article, you'll realize it is going to give you a skeleton of what Raila-UHURU Power sharing deal would look like. But let me take you to what is there first. Raila Odinga is going to vie under Azimio la Umoja as a political party. And the party is a coalition. So under Azimio la Umoja, it is going to have different parties, that is the Jubilee, the ODM, and all other parties that shall have now decided to join Azimio la Umoja. However, they will retain their identity. That is breaking from the tradition on the grounds in which Jubilee Party was formed. Because Jubilee Party, those parties folded and joined Jubilee, and all of them lost their identity. But I think due to the tragedy that this party saw, Uhuru Kenyatta was keen on not repeating the same. So under Azimio la Umoja as a political party, President Uhuru Kenyatta is going to be the chairperson. He's the party leader of Jubilee, but is the chairperson of Azimio la Umoja. Then he's going to have 4 deputy chairpersons. One is going to come from Coast. I want to believe Hassan Joho is the best fit here. The other one is going to come from Western Kenya, and most probably it's either Oparanya or Eugene Wamalwa. But if you ask me, I think it's Oparanya, and in our next point, we're going to look at that. The other one is going to come from Ukambani or Nairobi. Coast, Western, Ukambani or Nairobi. So the Ukambani or Nairobi, probably I think we might go for Charity Ngilu or Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. And we are going to look at that, how that is going to play out. Then the other one must come from Northeastern. Then in that Azimio la Umoja, there is a position of Secretary of the Coalition who must come from Nyanza. And we might also question who is viable for that. Then the Organizing Secretary will come from Rift Valley. Executive Secretary, I think, will come from Rift Valley. And Sally Kosgei, Alex Tolgos are some of the figures that are remarkable figures from Rift Valley that can be given that opportunity. So guys, that is a framework was there. So I want us to look at what does this mean? What can you understand? What can be an interpretation of this arrangement? Other people have called it as a power sharing deal, but I think it's not yet to that moment. But there is something it signals. In my understanding, there are 3 things that are silent in that. They are silent, but they are very prominent. One is Raila Odinga's term. We've been told in the campaign trail that Raila Odinga is going to be a one-term president. He's just going to put us at the takeoff stage. Then after that, someone will come on. Others have argued that Raila Odinga is just being put there as a transition, is just going there as a transition president as we look forward to 2027. But Raila's term is also in contention there. And my understanding here is, if Azimio Party is going to sponsor Raila presidency, then what that means is If Raila has to serve one term, then the Azimio party will look for another person. If he has to serve one term. If Azimio breaks up, actually if Azimio breaks up, Raila will be viable to vie. If by then he will be around 84 or 83 there. I don't know, I think 83. 83 can still vie. But do you think these people are talking about the one term? Secondly, is the question of the running mate. So where does the running mate comes from? If you already have deputy chairpersons from Coast, Western, Nyanza, Western and Nairobi, I don't think it's Nairobi, it's going to be Ukambani. Where does the running mate come from? Because President Uhuru Kenyatta have sat there as a chairperson and it seems he's not part of it. The running mate question is very critical because Uhuru and Ruto presidency was shared in between. The diagonal was cut between the president and the running mate, who is the deputy president. So could it mean that this time round, it might not be, the power might not be shared along that line? And if it's not going to be shared along that line, then it means that even the running mate is not going to be very powerful, or they're not looking at running mate as someone who is bringing votes. The criterion of giving your running mate a half of the government is whether your running mate is bringing more votes. So if it is not going to be divided along that line, then that means that the running mate is just by formality, by law, but not really he's bringing numbers of board. Think about that. 3 is the rebirth of BBI. So after the general election, if Raila wins presidency and Uhuru Kenyatta is the chairperson of Azimio la Umoja as a party, if the BBI is brought back, and BBI talked about the expanded, let's just pick the expanded executive, who gonna be the prime minister, gonna be the deputy prime minister and all that? I want you to think about it, because from what I'm seeing, I think the BBI is going to be brought back by this team. And when they bring back the BBI, there is something that is behind. And of course, power might be shared even alongside the BBI. 3, I have not seen the role of the CS, Matiang'i, Mutahi Kagwe, Peter Munya, Ukur Yatani in this structure. They're not going to be leaders of Azimio. They're not going to play a role. So how are they going to be absorbed back to govern? Because these fellas did not go for elective seats. I think Matiang'i and especially Kagwe had not announced, but Ukur Yatani and Peter Munya did not go, and also Eugene Wamalwa did not go to seek elective seats simply because Uhuru promised them that he's going to take charge. He's going to take charge of the next administration. Even if Raila is at the top, he can influence Raila to make sure that they get slots. That is not yet seen here. So I want us to look at the objectives of this arrangement. What is the objective? That's what I want us to look at. And I have my 4-point agenda on this. Before I look at that, if you're watching this video kindly and you haven't subscribed, take a second and subscribe. And more importantly, click the notification bell so that when we publish a video, you will be notified and you will be knowing each and every time we publish a video. I want us to look at the 4 objectives of this arrangement. This is where I have my punchline. The structure of Azimio is going to give Raila Odinga campaign machinery. And it is actually structured in a manner to consolidate the regional bases. If you look at the way they are talking about the chairpersons, especially if it is from Coast, it might be Joho, and Joho is a campaign machinery. If it is going from Western Kenya, and let's look at Western Kenya, Oparanya is already the deputy party leader of ODM party, and ODM party have already produced the presidential candidate. I want to believe that if there is going to be the deputy chairperson of Azimio from that end, they are going for Eugene Wamalwa, because Eugene Wamalwa is the patron of that Democratic Action Party, DAPK, that is now giving ODM and ANC a run for their money in Western Kenya. So if you amass this, if you bring all these fellas together, and if you have been watching my videos, you realize that when I talked about Raila Odinga's campaign team, I mentioned Joho and Eugene Wamalwa. So these fellas around are going to give Raila a very good campaign machinery. These are people that are now going to run the regional bases when Raila is doing his campaigns, and that is going to work against him. Secondly, the objective of this is to put Uhuru Kenyatta in a prime political position to campaign for Raila Odinga. If he is the chairman of the coalition, and behind the scenes, he's also calling the shots from Central Kenya, so he's going to break away from the normal party. You know, like Jubilee Party was confined to Jubilee, but then Azimio la Umoja looks like a government of national unity. So driving that national unity, it's very easy for him now to go to a campaign, because when he goes to Central Kenya, he will be having all these other leaders. He will be having the Eugene Wamalwa, Raila, Joho on this other team. So it's very easy for him to campaign because it is a platform that has the face of Kenya. And do you think they are supposed to campaign? Yes. Because I actually read that after the event, after the ODM is having a NEB, National Executive National Executive Council today. Tomorrow in Bomas, they're going to have National Governing Council. Then on Saturday, they're going to join up with Jubilee on the NDC of the National Delegates Conference in Kasarani. It's actually in Kasarani, it's not Nyayo, as it was earlier reported. Then from then, on Sunday, they're heading to Kamkunji on a joint rally. Both ODM, Jubilee, and all those other parties, and the president might actually attend. So this arrangement is giving Uhuru Kenyatta a political opportunity to campaign for Raila Odinga. Other than when he was just in Jubilee, and so he's just the Jubilee party leader, when he's supporting Raila Odinga, he seems like it's just a personal support. But now, as the chairman of the coalition, he now has the clout to push Raila. 3, Raila Odinga is going to inherit Jubilee track record. And track record, in my understanding, does not only mean the successes. Track record means both failures and successes. So whether this is going to work to advantage of Raila, it's going to depend on what outweighs the other. Between Jubilee failures and Jubilee successes, what do you think outweighs the other? If the successes outweighs the failures, then it's going to work to the benefit of Raila Odinga. But in this arrangement, it's a very good trap that, of course, Raila Odinga is going to inherit the Jubilee successes. So in areas where Jubilee has done well, I think it's going to work. Especially in Central Kenya, he's going to sell that card. In Mombasa, he's going to sell the success card. And that is going to help Raila Odinga take votes in swing areas, because what President Uhuru Kenyatta brings on board is not the Central Kenya vote, and I think that's what we need to demystify. It's not the Central Kenya vote, but it's more of nationally. He has launched projects in Northeastern, he has launched projects in Ukambani. So when he goes to do these projects, especially this last few days in office, he's going to tag along Raila. My punchline is this. This is the mega 2027 political strategy. If William Ruto becomes a very strong candidate as we head towards 2027, then there are 2 situations that are here. Uhuru Kenyatta might actually jump ship and support William Ruto and have that. Then they go against Raila Odinga. That is, if Raila insists that he is going to seek re-election against the wish of Uhuru Kenyatta. That will be number 1 strategy. Number 2, when Uhuru Kenyatta is at the head of Azimio la Umoja, then the BBI is revived. They can change the constitution and water down the powers of the presidency. Remember, by this time now, Raila Odinga might now be willing to exit the stage, and I believe he is going to exit the stage after 2027. Then water down the powers of the presidency. Then they find a way they can transition between Raila to maybe Gideon Moi or Fred Matiang'i. But Because of the regional aspect, I don't think anyone from Western Kenya should think about this. Matiang'i and Musalia Mudavadi do not stand a chance. If Raila wins in August, I think the highest probability it can go back to Rift Valley or it can go to the Kikuyu Nation. But for the Central Kenya, the narrative will run that already they have had it. And again, it will depend on Raila Odinga's track record as a president. If he performs well, and now he can enjoy the support of many, then whoever Raila will say Raila Tosha will stand a good chance. But I think Uhuru Kenyatta sitting at the head of Azimio la Umoja is a very key political strategy eyeing at 2027, because he actually wants to play. He's not going to do politics now, but he's going to do politics after that. If Azimio is going to, if Raila is going to work with Ruto after, if Raila wins, then Raila realizes that, okay, fine, I am already the president, but because of these small parties, I do not have a good command in National Assembly. Then Raila opts to work with UDA. If UDA are going to garner many strength in Legislative Assembly, then you know President Uhuru Kenyatta is sitting at the top of it. So for me, my punchline here is the issue of Uhuru Kenyatta sitting at the head of the party, the Azimio party, is a very key strategy to look at 2022. Lastly, so I looked at this. Raila Odinga is a presidential candidate. He remains the party leader of ODM party. With all this arrangement, is Azimio going to kill ODM and Jubilee party? Okay? And will Raila now be more of an Azimio than ODM? That is it. It's a very key situation. I think, guys, that's my analysis. And you can also tell us, in terms of these other positions, who do you think should be given what?